Hey, how's it going? So, I haven't done one of these video things for quite a while, so I thought I would, and coincidentally, not coincidentally, Mutant Deluxe is coming out soon on the Wii U. Pretty excited about that. Pretty excited. I think my beard's getting a bit more grey, isn't it? A little bit. Yeah. Oh well. What can you do? What can you do? So, yeah, so Mutant Deluxe is coming out next week. Actually, we just got to confuse matters, the original Mutant Muds, we just updated the PC version of that, and that is available on Amazon now, which is cool. Amazon just opened up a new indie games section on the website, and they contacted us and asked if we wanted to have Muds on there. We're like, yeah, that'd be awesome. So we updated it. It has, the original PC version was the 4:3 aspect ratio, yeah, so we made it 16:9, you know, you know, because we have the assets that we did for the iOS and for the Wii U version to make it 16:9 action. It padded out the levels and also added the checkpoints to the PC one, because I think that was in there originally. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a new one as well. So if you play PC games, which you might, then you can buy that one. Or if you don't, you can buy the Wii U one that comes out next week. Or if you have a 3DS, you could buy that one. Or if you have an iPhone, you could buy that one. Crazy! So we're hoping, obviously, to dominate the world by getting Mutant Muds on as many platforms as possible. Yes, the calculator is next. So I'm having a cup of tea right now. In a disposable coffee cup. Because I haven't cleaned up all of my mugs, so I'm using that instead. So yeah. So what else is going on? So Treasurenauts, we announced that. I had the magazines with me earlier, but I must have left them somewhere else. So that was announced in Nintendo Force, or revealed, I should say, what it's about, and that's exciting. So I guess in this video I want to kind of mainly talk about Mutant Deluxe and Treasurenauts. So as far as so I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, aren't I? So Mutant Deluxe, yeah, coming out next week for the Wii U. We've got 20 new ghost levels. If you go over to Go Nintendo, actually, Kevin did a live stream earlier today of him playing through it, and actually went through the first 6 ghost levels and the first 6 regular levels. And maybe he'll be doing some more streaming over the next day or days. I'm not sure exactly what he's got planned, but that's a great way to check it out. At least kind of get a glimpse of it. If you don't want to spoil it, then that's cool. You can just get to see a little bit and then wait. Or if you want to check it out, the whole game, you can as well. I don't know if he's going to make it through the whole game or not. I don't know what his plan is, but anyway. So, and obviously, yeah, we added checkpoints to the Wii U version that you can turn on and off. If you pause the game in the level select hub, you can turn checkpoints on and off. And you play it off TV, you know, off the TV, so you can play it on the gamepad without even turning on the TV. So, yeah. Oh, and there's more new music, of course, for the ghost levels, and then a few other secrets that were added to the Wii U version that I will let you find, or we'll reveal later. But it's very cool. I'm really happy with it, actually. It's pretty cool. I downloaded my copy yesterday, and that's really exciting to download a game that you made. You know, even though we get to play it, of course, on the dev units, it's just not the same. You know, it's not a real retail unit. It's something it always feels like it's in progress. Like this isn't a finished game yet when you're playing on development hardware. But when you play on a real retail, out in the wild, you know, console or handheld, then it feels real. You know, because it's like, wow, now it is literally out in the wild. You know, there's no I suppose because you get used to playing the game on the dev kit, and the reason I keep on nodding over there is because that's where my Wii U dev kit is, sorry. But when you're playing on that, if you find a bug or if something's wrong with it, you fix it. You're like, yeah, great, and that's just the process you do for months. It's like you make something, you try it on the Wii U or 3DS or whatever, It either works or it doesn't, or it has some problems or it doesn't, or whatever. And you know, constantly finding problems, things that break or don't work as well as you wanted to do, or whatever. And you're constantly fixing and addressing those issues, and that's what game development is. And you're doing that non-stop every day for months. And then suddenly, you know, you get to play it on, you know, a real console, a retail console, and it's like, you know, you can't do that anymore. You can't like, oh yeah, I want to fix that. Nope, done. You know, so it is kind of scary, but it's super exciting. I think the excitement, for me anyway, overshadows the scary factor. I mean, there's definitely a few. There's always going to be a bug at every single game that anyone makes. Just something you have to accept, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm super excited now to download it on my Wii U and play it. Yeah, it's cool, really cool to play it on the TV and play on the gamepad. It's neat. So hopefully you guys want to check it out, and if you do, then hopefully you enjoy it. And the really cool thing about the Wii U, and I'm actually genuinely excited, I'm not trying to, you know, sell this, is Miiverse. So for good or for bad, you guys can say exactly what you think about the game, and tell the world about that. So that'll be fun, and I'll be on there. You can follow me on Miiverse, Renegade Jules, one word. My me profile or whatever will be verified. I think that will happen on the day the game's released. Next Thursday, June 13th, is when my profile will become verified, in theory, unless Nintendo finds out about that stuff, that dodgy stuff I was doing, and decides not to verify me. I'm just kidding. So that's pretty cool. I must admit, it actually makes me feel pretty fancy that they're going to verify my little dude in the Miiverse space. But anyway, I'll be on there, and so yeah, follow me if you want to. I'll definitely be checking it out. I'll be, you know, playing through mods and posting, I don't know what, but something. Maybe I'll do some drawings. I don't know, but we'll do some stuff. It'll be fun though. That's really cool. That's going to be great and awful at the same time to see what people think of the game. And hopefully there's enough people that actually buy it. There's any kind of activity in the Mutant Deluxe community. Guess we'll see. That would be very telling as well, I suppose, wouldn't it? Yes. So anyway, so we'll see. I have a cherry lollipop right here, and I'm going to bust into it, but not yet, because that'd be rude. So I'd be like, and stuff, and that'd be kind of weird, wouldn't it? So I'm not going to do that right now, but I love these. You've had one of these? So it's cherry on the outside and it has bubblegum on the inside. Genius! Okay, so Treasurenauts. Yeah, Treasurenauts, very cool. I'm really excited about that. So that's a 3DS game, of course. That's going to be that's our primary focus. We certainly do have aspirations to bring it onto other platforms. And what I mean by that is Wii U. And potentially, on a side note, I did tweet out a few weeks or whatever ago that we got, where is it? Oh, it's around here somewhere. We got Vita and PS3 dev kits from Sony, which is great, you know. So we might move some of our games over to that platform in the future. Anyway, so the reason I mentioned that is because Treasurenauts might end up there as well. But anyway, our focus right now is the 3DS version. Next up would be potentially Wii U, and you know, maybe Vita and or PS3. So that's cool. Anyway, so what is Treasurenauts? Yeah, so it's in, you know, Nintendo Force, so go definitely check that out. It's an excellent magazine, and I truly mean that. It's a really good magazine. I mean, I've always loved Nintendo Power. I actually think this is kind of an improvement on Nintendo Power. And I'm not dissing Nintendo Power, I always loved it, but I really like the layout, the design is really nice, and that's something that's important to me. I like that, you know, that helps me enjoy that magazine, the way it's laid out and colours and just everything that's done, how it's done. So Lucas has done a fantastic job with that. You know, and the content's great. I love the content. We've got some really good stuff, obviously, on games. Nice previews, reviews. I'm really glad that the eShop reviews now have numbers for the review scores rather than just yes, maybe, or no, which obviously is which is fine, but they're not quite as exciting. It's nice to have a number out of 10 to really see how much they like or dislike something. Anyway, great magazine. Definitely check it out. I really, really like it. I am subscribed. I bought the first magazine, which was like 18 bucks, which is crazy, before they had the proper subscription set up. And then I paid for the subscription as well, which I can't remember how much it is, but I went for the PDF and for the print versions of a combo. It's great. Good stuff. Anyway, so they had the exclusive reveal on Treasurenauts, and for those that haven't read that, what is it? It's a 2D platform game, obviously. I guess that's not obvious, you may not know that, right? It has an ensemble cast of at least 8 characters. Honestly, I'll just try and make as many as I humanly can in the time we have to add into the game. It's that type of game where, you know, really the reason that there are multiple characters to choose from is just to give you some variety, you know, some choice. You know, there's the 3 that we've revealed so far. There's the adventurer type, the ninja, and a tribesman with a weird mask on. Yeah, so pretty varied and strange. And then we'll have quite an assortment of different characters to choose from, and you may even recognize some familiar characters in the silhouettes that we had in the key art that was in the Nintendo Force article. So yeah, so we're going to have quite a few characters in that, so that's really cool. The choice of those guys is purely cosmetic. There's no gameplay difference between who you choose in that regard. Where the gameplay difference comes in is the weapon you choose. So you choose your guy, or gal, you choose your character first, and then the next stage of character selection is the weapon type. Hang on a second. There are very few things better than a good cup of tea. Hot tea, milk, sugar. It's quite nice. And so the weapon selection, there are 3 weapon types to choose from. Sword, firearm, and bomb. So, yeah, so they're quite different. So obviously the sword is very close range, short range, a very fast rate of attack, and medium damage inflicted on enemies. The firearm has a long range, medium rate of fire, and a slow damage infliction. And the bomb has a very slow rate of fire, one at a time. Well, for now, that may change, but one at a time for now. But definitely a low rate of fire. Medium range and high damage inflicted. Yes. So, yeah, so they balance each other out pretty good. So it's just your choice. You choose at the beginning. If you don't, you know, if you play the first level and you're like, I want to try something else, there's a place on the world map you can visit to swap it out for one of the other ones if you want to try it out anytime. So you're not locked in, you know, it's just a variety. And if you play 2-player, yeah, it's 2-player, local, download, play, and you know, if you both have a copy of the game, or if you don't, it works either way. You know, you can each have a different weapon, which is pretty cool. You know, so I can have a sword, and you can have a bomb. Boom! Let's go in there and tear it up. And there's going to be a number of things. It's pretty cool. I mean, what I'm excited about with this game is from a design perspective. Sorry, I just saw a bird like land up there. It was kind of crazy. I was like, what's he going to do? Right. There's just a lot of aspects to the game, which is really fun for me to kind of. Well, it's kind of crazy actually, because there's a lot of things to juggle. Even with Muds Deluxe, weird. Even with Muds, I was like, even with Muds Deluxe, you know, when I designed a level, you're always considering a certain list of things. You know, the obvious ones is, well, there has to be a water sprite at the end of the level. Duh. You know, you have to sprinkle 100 golden diamonds throughout the level. There's one secret door. There's one CGA granny door. You know, and stuff like that. And then that's just the basics. And then beyond that, I had a list of, depending on what level it was, which enemies can I use. I mean, and the reason it's like that, is I wanted to introduce the enemies across the levels as you progress from level 1 all the way through to the 20th, which is the last one in the 5th world, the last space level. Those first 20 levels is a curve, not only in difficulty, but also how elements are introduced to the player, whether it be an enemy or a platform, or even a platform setup, or even jump distance or jump height requirement. All of those details are gradually presented to you across the game. Well, the first 20, the secret levels and the granny levels, that's just out the window. It's just like, boom, hard. There's no curve there at all. But the first 20, there's a curve in theory. Yeah, the secret and the TGA, the granny levels don't. Anyway, so there's a similar thing on the in Treasurenauts, but a much bigger list of stuff. Lots of things to think about, whether it be treasure chests or treasure trove rooms you can go to, obstacles that can only be destroyed by a certain weapon type, situations where it requires 2 players, whether that means I jump on your head and then jump up to get something, or if we both stand on the pressure switches to open up a piece of the floor for us to then drop down and go down, power-ups required. I need to use a certain power-up to get somewhere, and I just cannot get there without that power. So you basically have to come back once you've got that, kind of like Metroid basically, and revisit that. And sometimes it's just an extra element to an existing level that you could get to. Sometimes it's I cannot get anywhere past the first screen without this power up, so you exit and have to come back later. Again, like Metroid. Yeah, and that's not even all of them. There's just a bunch of stuff I have to think about each level, which is really cool. It's really exciting. Yeah, it's neat. It's somewhat overwhelming, actually, honestly, to have all of that stuff. You're like, oh my gosh, but I know it. I know it's achievable, and I know the end result is the hope and the goal, and for some weird reason, I have the confidence that it's going to happen. I don't know why, but whatever. Is the goal is as a player, you go in there, and there's just a mess, not literally, but there's just a bunch of stuff in a level, and you're like, you can just go, I'm just gonna get out. I'm just gonna do a beeline from where I am now to get out of this level, and that's it. I'm just gonna take the shortest, quickest cut to get out and then get to the next level, and that's totally cool. You can do that, and that is a path that's catered for. And it's entertaining and it does its thing, and there you go, and that's great. But there's at least 5 other things you could be doing beyond that, or while you're doing that. Obviously, while you're doing that, otherwise you couldn't get out of the level. Which includes some of the things I mentioned earlier. So maybe just getting to a new part of the level you didn't try before, or couldn't get to before, or you couldn't get to on your own. You had to get another player to help you, or whatever. It's really cool. It's really cool. Anyway, so that's what we've been working on with Treasurenauts. I'm very excited about that. So it's going to be a very different game, well, in my mind, than Mutant Muds. It's a very different gameplay, for sure. The player moves much quicker. There's inertia. There's acceleration and deceleration on the player's movement. Obviously, there's different weapon types. You can jump much higher. I mean, it's a very different feeling than Muds, just at its core. And then when you throw all the other stuff on top of it as well, the other things I've mentioned, as far as the player's goal and the things you can do, yeah, it's very different. The way the game flows and everything, it's pretty neat. I'm pretty excited. So we'll see. You guys will probably hate it. No, I hope not. I know. But no, it's coming along really good. So that's where it's at. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. And at the same time, I've kind of got the main flow of the whole game figured out. Like, there's like I mentioned earlier, there's a Super Mario World kind of overworld map that kind of connects all of the levels. That's kind of laid out as far as the basic design of here's where you start, and you can go along here, and you beat a boss. That's right, there's going to be bosses. I nearly forgot not to mention there's going to be bosses. You beat a boss, you get a power up. Oh, now I can get to that level up there that I couldn't get to before, and these different paths now become open. And so on as you go through the game. That's all laid out. Well, for now, I'm sure it'll change, but I like it. It's cool. So it'll just change if I have a way of improving it at this point. Yeah. So in amongst figuring out some of the levels and what goes into all of it. I'm also trying to develop the art style for some of the areas. So there's different areas in the game that have different themes, different looks, and I'm trying to figure that out. But I'm not getting too caught up on that right now. I'm trying to actually do a rough out, a sketch of the entire game first, which is challenging to say the least. Which is basically the result of that is every single level exists in a really crappy rough form. So you can go from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. You can do that, but it's a pale resemblance of what the end final game will be. So that's kind of what I'm in the middle of right now. But while you're doing that, you're coming across things that you want to or need to address or solve in the game design or the art or whatever, or the flow. So you race ahead and then stop for a bit, and then race ahead and then stop for a bit. And yeah, it's kind of weird. Anyway, so that's where I'm at right now. But today has actually been a complete nothing, because you know, I got the codes for Mutant Deluxe last night, gave it to all the press guys, and I'm just really excited about that. So I haven't got any work done today. You know, I was hanging out with, well, not virtually hanging out with Kevin with his live stream earlier, and that was really cool. So I'm just drinking tea and checking out what's going on the net today. But I think I'm about to dive into some Treasurenauts. I'm kind of feeling it. I'm really excited about it. It's a really cool game, so I want to get back into it, but it's hard to do that when you have other stuff going on. So, all right, cool. Apparently I've been talking for over 21 minutes now, so I don't know if YouTube will allow this, but I guess we'll find out. And if you're seeing this and I just said that, you'll know that it does, and it'll be a moot point, really, won't it? Yeah, okay. Cool, guys. I might do another video soon, I'm not sure. If not, please check out Mutant Deluxe, and if you do buy it, let me know what you think on this or on Miiverse. Yeah, that's probably the best place to do it, I guess. If you have something good to say on the Miiverse. If you have something bad to say, you can just email us at info@mrenegadekid.com. Just keep it secret. Keep it down. Alright, guys. Well, thank you for stopping by, and I will talk to you later. Alright, bye.